Alrighty, guys, welcome to the live trading session today. So today we're going to be trading live with you. I'm going to give you an update now of what we're looking at in the markets. And after that, I also want to talk to you about our expiry trade, which is going to be setting up this Friday. So that's quite exciting as well. So looks like most of you are in the room now. So let's just talk you through what's going on in the FTSE at the moment. So at the moment, we do have expiry week. So the one thing we do at Magnetic, which is quite different to maybe a lot of educators out there, is we're not just focusing on technical analysis and fundamental analysis. There's a lot more that needs to be known behind the scenes within markets to make money. And we find if you really want an edge and you want consistent results, you need to know about market function. So market function is what's driving things behind the scenes. And that is very important. So for example, this week with expiry occurring on Friday, which is when options expire, we don't trade options, but the event is relevant because what happens during expiry week typically on the FTSE 100? Well, what happens is it generally stays within a range. Okay, so and that range at the moment is quite fitting with the consolidation action that we're seeing. So at the moment, we're seeing a consolidation move between 7,700 to 7,800. And actually, there is open interest on expiry contracts at 7,800. So there is a likelihood that we will at some point for the rest of the week drive ourselves back up to around 7,800 for the options. And that gives us an edge because we know that breakouts are unlikely to happen this week. So we don't really want to be looking at breakaway strategies. Instead, we want to really be playing the outside of the ranges and really looking for moves back towards 7,800, where the open interest is. So that's kind of the market function this week. We've also got a big dividend tomorrow on the FTSE. So some of the companies within the FTSE 100, there are 100 of them, but some of those companies are going to be declaring dividends tomorrow. So there's a 12-point dividend tomorrow. That will have a very short-term bias for us buying tomorrow. But we just need to keep aware of that as well. But that's another reason that should we get to the lower end of the range, we will be looking to buy. So what does the lower part of the range look like? Let's go to the 1 hour. And we can see that we are kind of bouncing between, I would call the range, it's 7,820 to the lows here. Okay, so here's the lows down here at 76.80. So really, these are the extremes of the range, and I would anticipate that should we get to those areas, we're not going to get breakouts. In fact, I'd be looking to sell up here, or I'd be looking to buy down here, given the market conditions. So that's the bigger picture in play. We certainly get some big plays if we get some false breaks up here or down here. If we go to the very short-term charts, so I'm going to go to a 5-minute chart now, and I just want you, this is yesterday's action. So on Friday, the FTSE closed at 7,754. So the market pushed on up here. Well, it actually opened up here, and then we moved back down, and you'll see that we got down to 7,762. So that was actually the real low yesterday. So if I now just show you, I want to show you a different screen. 2 seconds. Right, you should be able to see my screen now. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at yesterday's highs, lows, and closes in the market. Some of you will have looked at the gap strategy with myself and Cameron maybe a couple of weeks ago. There's actually a video that's going to be released on gaps later on today. You can have a little look at that as well. But focusing on the gap is quite lucrative as well. That's when, if we open above the or below the previous day's closing price, we look to trade back to that level. So yesterday we actually had a gap up. We opened above 7,754, and it was a Monday. We typically don't target gaps on a Monday because that's when a lot of retail traders will buy stocks on a Monday, and what happens is it drives the market up, and therefore it's low probability for selling an up gap. So yesterday we'll see that the lowest printed price on the FTSE is 7,754. But actually that isn't the case, guys. So the golden rule is that if the gap doesn't fill, the closing gap doesn't fill, you actually need to check on your broker platform, what was the real high and low in the market for the FTSE 100. It doesn't affect the DAX, but for the FTSE it does, because the FTSE will always open at the previous day's closing price. It's irrelevant. So let me now just take you back to the action from yesterday, and you'll see what I'm talking about in terms of what the real low is. Okay, that's just loading now. So what happened yesterday is we opened up at 7,790. We failed at the previous week's highs. So the previous week's highs was around 7,791. We failed at that level, and then we sold off. The lowest printed price yesterday was 7,762. Okay, so it's a false low. So we just need to bear in mind that should the FTSE get below 7,762 today, which was yesterday's real low, there's a good chance it's probably going to go down and fill this gap down here at 7,754. Now, this is where I'll be looking to see whether we're negative or bullish for the day. So for me, on a very short-term time basis, if the FTSE comes down here, fills the gap, and we put in a buy signal back above yesterday's real low at 7,762, then there's a good chance we'll buy today. But should we start getting some sustained action below 7,751, then I think we're going to be looking for a sell today, very short-term sell. So that's what I'm looking for initially for us at the open, will be to see if ideally we get a false break below this level to fill the gap. If it does and we start getting back above 7,762, then that will be a reason for us to buy. If we don't, we don't get above 7,762, then we may be looking to sell. The weakness today for a move back down to the bottom of the range, which is down at 7,700. So that will be my favorite play today. Otherwise, I mean, as I said, I'd be looking on the higher time frames. I mean, I'd love to be selling up above 7,820 today. And also, I'd probably be looking for reasons to buy from 7,700 and lower on the bigger time frames. But the very short term, I'll be looking at that. So just before I hand you over to Cameron to talk about the DAX, I'll just quickly show you where we are trading at the moment. So this is Go Markets, and you'll see that we're trading, market hasn't opened yet, but we're trading around 7,769. So 7769 is where we're trading. So yeah, we'll see where we open, guys. But the relevance, there isn't a line on the chart, but 7762 to 7754 very relevant for us today for potential buyers or sales. If we don't get anything around that level, then I'll still be looking for something for you, but I'll update you. Okay, so before we open, let's go over to Cameron, and he's going to talk to you about the DAX and what to be looking for on that index.
Okay, thanks, Mark, and hello and good morning, good evening to you all. So the DAX, if you joined us before, the DAX this last month has been very much in a range. We've been pretty much moving between sort of 16,000 levels to 15,700 levels, and staying within there. So Mark has been talking about how that we could be staying in a range with expiry week. We do have expiry happening on the DAX as well on Friday. So I'm going to give you a trade that is valid for today, but it will most likely be valid for the rest of the week. So if you could take this down, I'll maybe write it in the chat as well, that I'm looking for a buy trade at 15,660 with a stop of 100 points and a target of 100 points. And this is going to be valid today between now and 4:30 UK time. And let's just say for the rest of the week. So this is your trade for the week. If it triggers and I do anything, I'll manage it a little bit for you over the app as well. So that's the trade that I'm looking for this week. You guys can jump on that. We'll see if it triggers. The DAX is currently trading at 15,890 levels. It does seem like that's quite far away for a buy, but the DAX can move very, very, very quickly. So it's an order you can place on your broker platform. If you do place this order, make sure that you place an alert to alert you to the fact that the trade has triggered, and you need to just be aware that it could be updates and alerts coming out. All right, with that, we are 7 minutes away from the open. Let's get ready for the opening action, and we'll come back and update.
So the market's going to open in about 5 minutes. This is typically what we do with our clients each day, is we get them into a room and we give them a briefing on, what's going on with the markets, what to be looking out for. What are the market conditions? Are there any market function events going on, outside of just technical analysis and fundamental analysis? We're a great believer that you can't just rely on technical analysis for your trading. If you really want a big edge, you've got to learn about market function, what's going on behind the scenes, because it does have a big influence. So at the moment, we're trading 7773. Whenever we're in a sort of a consolidation range, I'm typically looking for trades where I'm looking for people to get stopped out of trades, really. I'm looking for the less obvious trade to happen, or something to happen in the market where I believe that the retail market are going to be on the opposite side of the trade to me. So, as I said, I think if we just open today and move on up, I'm unlikely to buy it, from this level and upwards, because we're towards the top of the range. And yes, it can continue upwards, but I'd actually probably wait for a false break above 7820 to sell actually at that point. But let's just look at the charts and what would the retail market be looking at? There's a lot of lines here, but just focus on the bar chart at the moment. So what would the retail market be doing? Well, they're probably thinking it's buy the dip today. The market's trending up. They're definitely trending up, guys. You can see that. So they're probably going to put their stops below this candlestick, this pre-opening candlestick here, so the overnight lows. which ties in with yesterday's lows. So that's what I'm talking about. I want to see the market drop below here. I want to see that retail market get stopped out. I want us to try and fill yesterday's gap at 7754, which is part of market function. Then I want to see a reversal back above this level, and we'll probably look for a buy. So it's really being patient for the less obvious trade. Obvious trades in trading generally don't work, because that's, unfortunately in trading, it's a zero-sum game. So whenever you're buying, someone else is selling, you're taking the opposite side really of the trader. And what we want to be doing is we want to be taking the opposite side of the amateur trader. Of course, we don't get it right all the time, but that's what we need to be doing. A couple of you are raising your hand. Just going to see if, before we open, I can see any questions coming through. I don't see any questions for you now. I mean, if you have any questions on what I'm talking about, you can put them in the question box. I see a couple of you have got your hands raised, but no question. Oh, and yesterday's gap closed, guys, was 777, 7,777. So that is not on. I think we're opening too close for that one. I think there's a good chance of it filling, but again, for me, I'd probably be looking again to see what happens when we get down to 7,754, and then okay, we'll take it from there. Tim's asking how many gap trades do you get per week, month? You usually get a good, well, I mean, they come in buses. I mean, you can get 2 to 3 gap trades a week. I mean, you can get 5 gap trades a week. They may all set up, but there may be a week where there's nothing. So, but on average, I mean, if you typically took them on average, a good 2, I would say, Tim. Just checking everyone can see my screen. John's saying he can't get a picture, but my screen should be showing. So maybe just type it into the question box that you guys can definitely see my screen. Okay, I'm getting some yeses. So that's not an issue our end, unfortunately, John. All right, we have open, guys. Okay, so remember 7762 yesterday was yesterday's real low. So what we're saying, if we get below there, we'll probably drop down to 7754. So let's see if we can push down towards there. I'm going to put this to a 1 minute as well. So I want to see what's happening. Generally, I'll trade off a 1 minute in the first, well, at least the first 15 minutes, I'll be looking at the 1 minute. But you'll notice all my analysis is done really from weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour. I'm looking at the bigger picture, and then I'm really looking at the 1 minute and 5 minute for micro entries. So I will then be looking for a bit of price action to confirm that I'm correct. The market is always correct. We are not always correct. So remember that one. Although we have a view of what we'd like to happen, I still need the market to align with what I'm thinking if we get down or we see something that we would like to trade. So that's very important as well. It's a mistake having a very strong view in the market and trading just on a view. You must have the price action to confirm your view. So it's looking like the FTSE is trying to fill the gap at 777. that's not a gap I would be taking. As I said, for me, the risk reward isn't aligned today for the gap, because for me, I'd be wanting my stop below 7,750. So if the target's at 777, and we're sort of buying around this level, you've got over 20 points of risk to make 10 points. So it doesn't make sense from a risk reward point of view. So that's another thing with the gaps. Yes, you can have a high probability gap, but if the risk reward doesn't make sense, you still have to stand aside. So I'll typically be watching this. I mean, I generally watch the first half an hour of action to see what happens. But usually in the first 5-10 minutes, I'll get a good idea of whether we're going to get a setup or whether we're going to have to wait. And if we have to wait, what I do is I will set alerts on my trading platform that should price get to a level of where I'm interested, then I'll come back to the screen and I'll look to trade it again. And as I said, for me today, that's if we get below 7,762 and move down to 754, that's what I'm looking at. That's an area of interest for me. Otherwise, I'm looking for sales if we breach 7,820. But this zone in the middle, I don't see anything high probability. So whilst we're watching the action, again, feel free to ask me some questions on what we've talked about today. I know quite a bit may be going over your heads. We're talking about quite a bit this morning, but things like expiry, things like gaps, the dividend tomorrow, the chart analysis. If there's something you want to ask, feel free. There are no stupid questions, guys. Obviously, I'm not going to repeat who you are, so don't feel shy about asking a question. More than happy to answer anything that you're not understanding. So just another thing as well, often the market we usually get out, if we were going for a gap, we often get out 2 points before the gap close. So for me, if I was trading the gap now, given that it's come within a couple of points of the gap, I'd be out of it. Not that we've bought the gap today, but I'm just saying we always get out 2 points before. So Tim's asking, what was the close for the day? So I will take that off the official market price, Tim. So, and you can actually get that from Google. Before the FTSE opens, a couple of hours before, you can actually just Google where did the FTSE close. You just put in FTSE 100 close, and it will give you the official close. Never get the close from a broker chart because it doesn't take into account the auction price. So the auction is a 5-minute period. Yes, it's 777. The auction is a 5-minute period where it tallies up the buy and sell orders. And then you get the official closing price at the end. And then that yesterday was 777. Yeah, I will be talking to you about the expiry trade, but I want to do the live trading first, John, and then I'll start talking to you about expiry. So it's on the agenda, but I just want to watch the price action a little bit with you first, and then we'll move on to that one. So you'll notice at the moment we've come down, we've just tested yesterday's low at 7,762. Again, nothing of interest for me to trade just now. There's no obvious trade here. I think, you know, retail market could be buying that level. So I feel there's no opposite trade I can get involved with at the moment. So I'm still hands under the seat, being patient. Patience is very important in trading. There will be days where you just come to the office and there isn't anything to do. There's nothing that stands out to trade. So you just simply don't trade. Okay, so fairly decent reaction off yesterday's low at 7762. So it's definitely, that is indicating to me that, okay, FTSE it's fairly bullish. Action's pretty good. And what we have done, actually, I've just noticed on the 5-minute chart, see what we've done actually is we've broken the 5-minute bar down. So and we're moving on up. So there is a chance that the FTSE could trade the bar length to the upside. Now we call it reversible trade. It's basically when you take the opening range on the 5-minute bar and you take an initial break of that bar. So the low is broken now, and the reversal trade will often trade the length of the bar. So the length of the bar is 7773 to 7763. So there's a good chance this will trade up to 7783. That's the reversal of the bar. Now, other areas to notice as well is we're getting very close to yesterday's highs in the market. Let me just show you. This big red line here is a resistance area. So this will be an area that we need to keep an eye on today. It's not really in my trade plan today to take a trade here. As I said, for me, I'd rather be getting up to 7820. So generally, guys, if you see a false break on the 5-minute bar, you can look at the reversal with the trend. That actually was something I was looking at before the market opened. I was thinking to myself, it was on my notes that yesterday's 5-minute bar trade initial break failed and the reversal worked. And generally when the markets are weak, the reversal does tend to play out quite nicely. But there's a good example of that there. Right, I'm going to keep my eyes on the action. But I did say I want to talk to you a little bit about expiry as well. So let me change our screens. And again, should we get some interesting action again, I'll bring the trading screen back up for us. All right, so expiry, guys. So expiry is linked to options, but we do not trade options here at Magnetic Trading. But all you need to know is that on the 3rd Friday of each month, options expiry will take place on the FTSE, and it will take place at 10:10. It lasts 5 minutes. Okay, so between 10:10 and 10:15, that is when options expire. So what happens on the main FTSE index is that you'll see a lot of volatility within that 5-minute window as these options expire, and no real trade is facilitated during that window. Now, if you've watched previous presentations with us, you'll know that the essence behind market function is all to do with why do markets exist in the first place. They exist to match up buyers and sellers, okay? So it stands to reason that if we want a really high probability strategy, then we want to be looking for areas where no buyers and sellers have been matched up, because we know the market's going to go back and reclaim those areas, because markets are, believe it or not, efficient. So a lot of our market function trades are based just on that. We will, of course, use price action to get us in and place stops, etc. But the expiry trade is pure market function driven. So what we expect to see is we'll see some dramatic moves to the upside or the downside, but often the price action will trade back to the 10 past 10 price. Okay, we have a proprietary system which enters us into the trade at a specific time, and we have a specific stop loss. I can't give that to you today because obviously, you know, it's we can't give you the full trade because it's a very valuable trade. But that's the premise of the trade. So what I would encourage you to do is that you can look at the action this Friday. And you'll see that expiry will take place, and you'll see these big wild price movements that we will take advantage of in a 5-minute window. This trade has an over 80% win rate since we began teaching this to our clients. It's actually well over 7 years now that we've been trading this live with our clients. It's a nice trade to bolt on to your existing trading strategy. So if you're trading Forex, for example, or you're trading individual stocks or whatever you're trading or whatever you're investing in, this is something that you can bolt on as a way to supplement income and generate higher returns during the year. There are 12 expiries during the year. They set up every month at a specific set time, and they last, as I said, around 5 minutes. We may be in the trade a little bit longer, but once the expiry is out the window, we usually put our limits and stops in, and we can let it play out. So it's very much a pure lifestyle trade. We find that although a lot of people want to trade, they don't have the time to trade. They get caught up with families and jobs and just general life. So what we do with magnetic trading is we do have a portfolio of 9 high probability lifestyle market function trades, which generally set up at specific times and in the future, so you can plan your life around it. So I know that I'm back in the UK at the moment. I'm in London at the moment, but I know on Friday at 10 past 10, I need to trade. And it's going to take, I need to be at the screens for at least 10 minutes. I'll be trading that live with our clients. And there's an 80% chance I'm going to make money. So I'm going to close the room, lock my door, and I'll be trading that around that. And yeah, it's a very short period of time that I can take out of my lifestyle. And if you're in Australia, then, you know, it's very easy for you as well to trade this in the evening as well. It's also recession proof, so it works in bull and bear markets. So that's very important. It doesn't really matter what's happening with the governments. It doesn't matter what's happening with Ukraine and Russia or wars or whatever it is. These are outside forces that we have no control over. And I don't like having any real trade setups that are linked to something that I can't control. So that's really why I like expiry, because if everything's really bad in the markets, it still works. And if everything's really good in the market, it still works as well. So that's very important. There's no guessing market direction as well. This is a great trade if you're new to trading, because it's actually very simple. There's no technical analysis that you need to do, or any analysis that I did at the beginning of this presentation is very, very simple. You just literally, you're looking for a specific movement and you're looking to take advantage of that with a target and stop in place. So what typically happens, guys, is, this is an example. You'll see that at 10 past 10, we can see that the market has moved up during the expiry window. So during this 5-minute window, we've seen a push up, and there's been no real trade facilitated during this window. So what happens is the price action will come back down. It will align itself. It's out of balance here. No trade has been facilitated. What's the pure reason markets exist in the first place? To match up buyers and sellers. So it needs to push on back down again and fulfill market action. And that's really what we're taking advantage of, guys. We're looking for these price moves up or down, doesn't matter, but we're looking for them to retrace back to the 10 past 10 price. As I said, we have some proprietary rules behind all that as well. So to recap, very high probability market function trade. It's a lifestyle trade. It has an over 80% win rate. It's easy to execute and understand and bolt on to your existing trading strategy. I actually deem it as an investment trade, because actually you could just trade this once a month, even if you don't want to trade, and make some decent income from it. So you could almost move it out of the trading realm and put it as an investment trade, which you can do once a month. Very easy to execute and understand. Personally, I've been trading this for over a decade now. It is my favorite trade on the FTSE. It's recession proof. And the good thing about this one as well is the banks can't really take advantage of this one and screw it up for us, because there's not enough liquidity. So what do I mean by that? Well, the movement during expiry is relatively quickly, and it's unattractive for banks because they can't put in very big positions into the market and get them out quick enough. So they can't really take advantage of this. And plus, really, they're going to be focusing on options anyway. But that's why, again, this trade works so well, is because the banks are not participating. They can't. They don't have the liquidity. So that's another real reason why it's a great trade for us, guys. So what we're going to be offering today, it's very much an introduction into magnetic trading. And what I want to do is I want to give you the opportunity that you can trade this for a whole year with me. So it means that every month, every third Friday of a calendar month, at around 10 a.m., you're going to come into a live room, pretty much like this. You're going to see my screen, and you're going to trade this expiry with me. You're going to know the rules, but here in magnetic trading, we really believe that we don't want to just give you a system or a strategy and just let you do it yourself. We believe it's better to hold your hand so you've got the confidence to really make this work with you. And that's why we trade live with our clients. There's a lot of educators out there that sell stuff and courses and material, but are they really trading? Got to ask yourself that. We really trade, and that's why we like to trade live in front of you and give you live updates. I have no problems calling a trade and getting it wrong. I have no issues with that at all. So yeah, that's what we're doing, guys. So we're going to give the opportunity to get involved with this trade. You'll get the full learnings of it, all the details behind the trade. You'll get a live room to trade it with us for 12 months. And you'll also get a state-of-the-art learning center as well. So this is just incredibly valuable, because it is just £1,000, and you get that for the whole 12 months, guys. And of course, you've got those rules forever. And of course, you've got the live room where you can trade with me every month for this. It's a great introduction to trading for you. I think this is, if you want to test out magnetic, this is a nice way of dipping your toe in. And then if you want to take it forward and you want to get access to further very high probability trades, you can do. So let me know if this is something of interest to you. I'm going to put a link into the room, and I'll also send it out to your emails for you. But if this is something that you want to get involved with, you can do. Now's a good time to kind of sign up, because you can get the rules today and then you'll join me on Friday and we'll trade this live with each other. And then of course, yeah, you've got the rules for life as well. So let me I'm just actually just gonna get hold of this link and put it in for you. Whilst I'm doing that, has anyone got any questions on the expiry trade? Any very questions? We'll go back to the live price action in a minute as well. But has anyone got any questions on the expiry trade? Yeah, no worries, Molly. We'll see you on Friday for sure. Ali's just running off. He's got to look after his two boys, which again it's a classic reason, guys, where we've got these lifestyle trades, because people are just busy. You know, they can't just stare at the screens all day long, or look at their phones all day long for signals. Right, I'm going to attempt to post this now into the room. Let me just see. Actually, Cameron, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this to you. If you could maybe, I'm going to send it to your email. If you could just put the link into the room for the guys, because I'm not seeing an option for me to post that in. Yeah, so Cameron will put that in for us, guys. And I'll also send it by email to you. Just going to try one more time to get it. Okay, Cameron's just put it in there, guys. So you should have the link. What you can do on that link is you can actually, I think it's the link where we traded this live. We traded this live in a room where we made over $41,000 live at a seminar, trading this with our clients. So I think that's the link where you can watch that as well. But it's quite a fun video to watch. We got a whole bunch of people into a seminar in Bangkok, and we traded expiry live with them. All right, let me just bring up the trading screen again. Okay, so I've just got some questions now. Okay, so Carol's asking, so the expiry trade is a 5-minute trade. So expiry will take place over 5 minutes, but you can use any chart you want. I mean, I will trade it on a 1-minute chart, because I want to be looking at very small moves in the market that are happening on a very low time frame. So I would recommend using a 1-minute chart for this. So if we were doing expiry today, I would have this 1-minute chart up. I'm on a 1-minute chart now. It would get to 10 past 10, and I would literally be telling you, right, guys, if it gets to this level or this level, we're going to buy and sell, and we're going to have our stop at X point, and we're going to be targeting back to the 10 past 10 price. And the action would start at 10 past 10 UK time, and then the action will finish at 10:15. So the actual event expiry will take place for 5 minutes, but the charting time frame we're going to use is a 1-minute chart. So hopefully that makes sense, Carol. Rod's saying he cannot copy the link. Maybe pop me an email. Again, if you guys cannot get the link, then you can always email me. My email is mark@magnetictrading.com. So I'll just repeat that. It's mark@magnetictrading.com. And I can send you that to you, Rod, no problem. So what I'm going to do as well, at a future session, I'm going to talk you through the 5-minute bar strategy as well. So maybe that's something we can do at a later date. Some of you also may want to be joining us in our live room every day. We typically get in a room like this and we will be talking about what trades we're taking for the day. If that's of interest, you can also email me. But the 5-minute bar strategy, it's just interesting how that one, the reversal, played out very nicely today, just the false break. For the rest of the day, guys, what I want you to be looking at is obviously the DAX trade. Well, that's for the rest of the week. Cameron's given that to you. On the FTSE, for me, I'm still going to be looking to see if we get below 7762 today and we hold above 7750. I might well look for a buy around those levels if we get down there. And the other thing I'm going to be looking at is if we get above 7820. So at this point in time, I'm going to put alerts on my trading platform that should the FTSE get below 7760, I need to come back and start looking for trades for my clients. Or if it gets above 7820, I also need to start looking for potential sales for our clients. And then what we'll do is if there's something, we'll send an alert out via our trading app. And that's really all I need to do today. Whilst the action stays between 7760 to 7820, I'm not going to have a trade. So I don't need to be wasting my time at the chart looking at price action. If I just look at the chart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get sucked into taking a trade, and I don't want to do that. Awesome, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Cameron, Timothy's just asking about the DAX trade. Maybe you could just type in the DAX trade again for him.
Sure, I'll just copy that again and post it again in the room. But it is, Tim, it is a buy at 15,660, 100-point stop, 100-point target. Just post that again for you.
Awesome, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you this morning. We didn't get a trade, but the day is not over yet. And yeah, something may well set up. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one for sure. But next time we'll get you into the live room, and hopefully we'll get a live trade with you. And we'll also be joining many of you for our high probability trade on Friday. You can join us live for that, and we'll trade that live with you. In the meantime, be safe out there, and we will join you again shortly.